criticism flared last weekend when Beckles was photographed with UNC Finance Minister Devendranath Thakur at Labor Day celebrations in Faizabad. Her late father, Lionel Beckles, was a prominent OWTU trade unionist, and she attended the event in his honor. After a female activist questioned the photo, Dr. Gatsby Dolly pushed back, warning that attempts to undermine Beckles outside constitutional rules are misguided and harmful to the party. She urged members to put the PNM above personal ambition, declaring united we stand, divided we fall. Former General Secretary Ashton Ford, often critical of Beckles, declined comment but promised a written reflection on her first year. Meanwhile, several PNM MPs and senators rallied around Beckles, saying simply, quote, "The work continues on Trinidad and Tobago's behalf," end quote. In other news, Minister in the Ministry of Housing, Philip Alexander, is defending police actions following the arrest of activist Alyssa Phillip during Labor Day celebrations in Faizabad. Despite attempts to reach several government officials on the matter, Alexander was the only one to weigh in on the development up to news time. Alexander says while he remains a strong supporter of free speech, the issue goes beyond freedom of expression. He's accusing some protesters of provoking law enforcement and says the matter is being unfairly linked to the government, which has no authority over police operations. Drawing on his own experience as an activist, Alexander says protests during a state of emergency require caution and respect for law enforcement. He says that some demonstrators appear intent on provoking arrests for attention and maintains that while reforms may be needed, threatening police and engaging in disorderly conduct are not the way to achieve change. And activist Alyssa Phillip and her mother Camille Carrasquero will reappear in the Superior Magistrates Court on July 20th following their Labor Day arrests in Faizabad. The two were detained on June 19th and later granted $60,000 station bail each. They appeared in court yesterday. This is Phillip's second arrest in less than a month. She and her mother were first charged on May 27th after a protest outside the DPP's office in Port of Spain. Phillip, who leads the 19 Bullets, 19 Protests campaign, has been demanding police accountability after the January police shooting death of Joshua Samaru. Police say the woman tried to join an unauthorized march during Labor Day celebrations. Phillip now faces charges including leading a march, disorderly behavior and resisting arrest. Carrasquero is accused of failing to disperse, obstructing an officer and resisting arrest. Their attorney disputes the police's account, insisting video evidence and witnesses show they were part of the authorized procession. Both women maintain their innocence and say they look forward to their day in court. Well, stay tuned for comprehensive coverage in our midday news and major newscasts at 7 p.m. on CNC3 and across all digital platforms.
All right, it's a brand new day and a chance for us to do it all over again today, Tuesday, the 23rd of June, 2026. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Let's get the ball rolling for the latest installment of the Morning Brew. As you can see via the front page, there is lots to unpack this morning. This story, it just keeps on taking us to new dimensions. I really look forward when we open the lines inside the second hour to really get that perspective. I saw last evening inside the People say many would have been a bit upset concerning what happened for the Labor Day march and the subsequent arrest with Alyssa Phillip and her mom. Of course, they appeared in court from what I'm seeing here. Back in court, it's on page 5. But the big story is Joshua Samaru's dad, Christopher Samaru, being arrested and his home in Maraval being searched yesterday. I'll go through some of the details and we will unpack this and other stories this morning. That's right. Let me just hold on. Hey, Sheldon, you could give me a swipe there, partner. I forget my swipe. This is yes. Thank you. That's what you see. Teamwork makes the dream work. All right. Boom bang. You can hold this. For the. I'm going to hold the man's swipe. Hey, see you inside, right? See you in a minute. Oh, partner. All is yours. Good. See? If we used to do a relay, we lost the race. Hey, I'm going to see you inside. Let's get the ball rolling. It's Morning Brew. right. Running in, running in. Oh my goodness. And you know, I heard Sagoni on the newscast last night, our weather anchor, mentioned that there's apparently some kind of wave on the, what coast is that? She said, I think that's on the west coast, east coast, nonetheless. There's a wave coming in, and we are expected to start to feel the effects of that, if not by today, for sure tomorrow on Thursday. So it's going to be very wet, similar to what we saw in the World Cup last evening there in Philadelphia, in New Jersey. A matter of fact, the France game had to be delayed for about 2 hours, and from reports of friends who were actually at the game, I had a friend and neighbor who was actually there live with her dad. She sent me some pictures and we did a video call. She in a whole poncho. Rain like that, you know. Even up to this morning, I'm hearing it is still inclement weather out there. But, you know, they are far removed and they will sort it out. I said all this to remind us that we need to take in the weather forecast, ensure that we understand how to prepare for the days, weeks, the months ahead, because we're in the rainy season, we're in the hurricane season. So when Sagoni, she gets down into her report, I listen keenly, and I take my notes and I try to plan accordingly. My umbrella in the car, I ain't playing at all. It's going to be some wet days ahead, so I just had to put that out there, and we might remind you again with our weather update during the course. But let's head to the front page and unpack this story. Listen, me personally, I'm at a point where I'm going to sit and listen regarding these developments. I have my particular spin on it, my take, but you'll be seeing in real time where, whether it's because of the blanket of the SOE and the current climate of the country, clearly the TTPS, there's no pet and powder, as they say. Is that not pet and powder again, but like it's a serious time. Now, the father, Christopher Samaru, over Father's Day weekend, would have granted an interview, made some remarks. I won't go into the details, but clearly this is a father who lost a son, a father who is probably still grieving, and this loss, it's a public loss, and your son's name is being called over and over. It's almost like he's gone, but he's still here because of the news cycle and what's happening. And as I always say on the program, the natural order and cycle of life is for us, the parents, to be laid to rest by the children. The children are the ones supposed to go and deliver eulogy and pick out casket and flowers and put in a nice suit, or for the ladies put them in the dress and send them home, and the children are the ones to really, you know, that's the way it's supposed to be, where the children say goodbye to the parents. But we find ourselves in a time where parents are saying goodbye to the children, and only those who would have walked that very dark road, they're the only ones who could understand that kind of pain. And I'm sure it's a pain that will remain with a parent for many years. Some probably never even get over, or could truly ever get over such a loss. And especially a loss that's been so public, a loss that's, you know, to deal with again, you know, shots being fired, bullets. I'm just looking at this from the human level. Again, not making an excuse from the dad for the daddy here, because the court now, because I guess they will have to now go to court and trash this one out. But I'm just thinking, this is a man who clearly would have been frustrated, probably is frustrated, hurting, and certainly when folks are in that particular state of mind, in that particular space, they do strange things. And probably what you feel, a warning might have sufficed. I don't know. You see, when you read the story, you'll get more details. I saw some of it on the news last evening, and then obviously reading the story here. He went, you know, as in Trinidad terms, you know, they say, take front before front take you. He, I guess, via his legal representation, decided, you know what, let me go to the station and just clarify everything. He went and decided all is well. While he's down there giving a statement and getting that all clear from the officers, he's getting word that, hey, his home in Maraval is being searched by the TTPS. Went to St. Clair Police Station to kind of, well, what was going on, to kind of confirm or at least get a further word as to what's happening. And while there, arrested. Yeah, I can't make this up. This and more on the Guardian this Tuesday morning, page 5. It's one of those stories where I guess more questions than answers, but it's going to go before the court, and I guess we will stay on top of this development. But we can confirm this morning that Joshua's father, deceased Joshua Samaru, Christopher Samaru, arrested, I guess, for controversial remarks made. And I'm hearing a lot of folks saying, well, you know, we under SOE, but I just want to ask a simple question this morning. Isn't this SOE, or at least what the SOE was intended to achieve, is to peg back and to really put a dent into criminal activities, the guns, the drugs, the fear that we feel from those who are involved in that criminal enterprise? We have heard the Prime Minister and others, very, very sharp words concerning those who get involved in that life. And even the Commissioner of Police would have mentioned it's just a handful of people, bad actors, holding this entire beautiful country at siege and causing us to have this terrible public image. We're looking bad on the regional stage, looking bad on the world stage with some of the bad actors and what they have done, and the dark elements or the dark forces that would have taken over some of our citizens, making them do extremely evilous and dark things. Because the majority of us, I believe, as the Commissioner would have mentioned, deal with love and community and try to at least go through the day with the least frustration. Yes, many of us are frustrated. You feel it on the road, you see it on people's face. There is frustration, but frustration sometimes might just cause people to have an utterance or raise their voice. So I'm trying to figure out what's the intent really of the SOE. If it's to deal with crime and criminality, which to me would have been the initial intent, the initial reasoning, or is this one to just suppress and put a mute on everyone or anybody who decides to speak against the powers that be? Really trying to work out the maths as to the intention, really, the real intent of this state of emergency, because to me, that's at least the initial reason that should remain the mandate, crime and criminality. So it really makes myself and many question, well, we have to almost kind of hold back on what you want to say. You really can't make no kind of remarks. And I can't recall ever in all my 47 years of life at Trinidad and Tobago that felt like this, that this is the reality of the moment. So it's really strange. It's really strange. I mean, I was too young in the coup. I can't recall all the dynamics and all that happened around that particular timing. I remember as a child I was very nervous. There was a sense of major uncertainty. I remember the army and others stepping up and really, pushing back against what was this attempted upheaval of our sovereignty. So, probably the older folks can remind me of what the mood was around that timing, just to give me that refresher when we open the lines. But we find ourselves in a really interesting time. So we'll get back to that later on. Read about it, all that and more, on page 5. We head to the back page and Messi, yet again, showing that, listen, well, you might call me old man, 38 old man, nothing. This man is showing up. This man still got the hunger. He's won everything. I think the only title Messi win is Intercal, This man win everything when it comes to football, right? And he is still out there. You saw the last goal, that man pelty holy little frame, went down to get that ball, that rebound, and score, So kudos to Messi. I'm not a fan of Argentina. I respect Messi. And they seem to be up for the task for this World Cup 2026. I tell you, amazing stuff. And speaking about Argentina, inside the brief you're seeing some Trinbagonians who, well, clearly they support the blue and white. And they all smiles there. This is taken at the Nice Place restaurant and bar, Chase Village. So people, going to the favorite watering hole and having a nice little time and a nice little fun moment with friends and family, enjoying the World Cup. And a picture of all our queens. Gisela Ron West, Wendy Fitzwilliam, and Janelle Penny Commission. All ladies I've had interactions with over the years, many times interviews, just good conversations. Penny is one who, I know she looks at the program every morning. She will give me little tips and kudos. She will send a message every now and then to say, hey, Jason, you know, just ways to improve. And I thank her for that. Wendy is, a sweetheart. And Giselle, well, she is so warm and loving, always accommodating. So it's really been one of my greatest joys to have known, or can't say have known, to know these ladies, to know that, hey, when I see them, there's a warm interaction. Because as a little boy, you know, you grew up seeing them when they kind of more, a little bit older than me by a few years, but especially Giselle and Penny. You know, you grew up hearing about Giselle and Penny, and you end up meeting and getting to know these women and realize they are truly, truly gems, world class. So well done. And we produce that, you know, Trinidad and Tobago. We produce that kind of magic. Well done, ladies. Great picture. We get ready for the first conversation, so sit back, relax, let's get into that. Curtis Williams steps in. Fiscal measures, Tobago budget, allocation request, and what's the focus as it pertains to our beautiful sister isle. The president of the Tobago division of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Curtis Williams, he joins me next.
Surfside Pool and Leisure is an exclusive distributor of Hayward Pool products in Trinidad and Tobago. We stock industry-leading pumps, high-performance filters, pool chemicals, and sanitizers to keep your pool performing at its best. When it's time to relax, explore our range of floats, loungers, toys, and pool accessories designed for the perfect backyard experience. Visit us 150 Boundary Road, San Juan, 78 SS Aaron Road, San Fernando. Top brands, expert advice, trusted service. Call 235-7665.
Every day, your nasal passages are exposed to dryness. From dry air, CPAP machines, oxygen therapy, sinusitis, allergies, and the common cold. When the nose becomes dry, breathing doesn't feel comfortable. It feels irritated, tight, and blocked. Introducing Nasogel Spray, a gentle nasal spray designed to help restore moisture where you need it most. Its hydrating formula helps soothe and relieve dryness inside the nasal passages, supporting more comfortable breathing. Nasogel Spray, so you can breathe better every day. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Watch Uteran weekdays at 6 p.m. on CNC3.
Name something that people stick their noses into.
The apple bucket, like bobbing for apples.
Where did that answer come from? In the apple bucket. Okay.
Always a joy to touch base with Curtis Williams. He joins me on the Zoom line, of course, representing the business interest there in Tobago, who I know will be, or at least yesterday was listening and looking on with bated breath, and coming out of that fiscal, I would say the delivery, the policy, the projection. We want to break down and really hear from the chamber in real time your take on the budget, what's mentioned, and if there is that true potential to tap into Tobago's, I would say, limitless endeavor and enterprise, and to really keep the wheels turning. Because I know we have that frank, open, very honest conversation every single time, so I really am happy to get that breakdown from you. What you thought of the budget yesterday? And of course, good morning to you, Curtis.
Hi, morning to you, Jason. Morning to your viewers and your listeners. It's a pleasure being here so that I can talk to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, especially those in Tobago.
It's a 4.12 budget, you know, 4.12 billion.
Lots of money, Jason, lots of money. And we at the business community, we welcome the presentation of the THA budget, and we recognize the effort by the Assembly to stimulate the economy, improve infrastructure, and support Tobago development agenda. However, Jason, the true measure of this budget is the implementation and the speed in which projects and programs are delivered. Jason, some of the highlights that we saw throughout the presentation, we see that there was a focus on economic diversification and to move Tobago a bit beyond the tourism. And we're looking into things like the agriculture, the blue economy, the ITC, renewable energy, creative industries. I mean, these things have been spoke about for many years, and we're not seeing much happening in that space. But we're happy to partner with the THA and to get these things really moving. All right, but adjacent tourism development remained critical, and it was something that we spoke about in our previous interviews, that the sector must become integrated through increasing airlift, which the THA did, the Chief Sec did mention. They're looking forward to these new airlift that coming into the island, destination marketing, festival and event tourism, and even community tourism initiative. These were things that we mentioned to the THA, and I'm happy to see that they are really looking into them. Now, bringing folks into Tobago through our new terminal building, which I believe that they will tell us hopefully soon when the opening will be like. And then bringing those folks across here, and there's no room for them, no quality room for them. We see that they're going to be a kind of a lag in between, because the new property that he spoke about, the Marriott and the advent of the Marriott coming in, turning soil, it will take about 2+ years to become reality. But in the meantime, we can't sit and wait, so we have to do something. So hence the reason why we as the business community, we are asking the THA to do some enabling. There can't be no grant, they can't give away money, but we're talking about something to resurrect the tourism sector that is a bit lying down. I mean, I don't want to say dead, but they're just down.
Let me, President Williams, I never ask, and probably you might not know the exact figure, but if you could let me know within the vicinity of the bed stock in Tobago, how many beds for the heads? When we talking here, the established hotels and even probably the little guest house that are able to get that approval. What's the bed stock like there?
Well, that was some data that we asked the tourism division to gather for us, because what we realize now, there's a lot of villas in Tobago, the Airbnb, a lot of them, Jason, I'm talking about a couple hundreds, and they are taking in some people, and we're not getting to measure those establishments. I don't know if the folks are a bit scared, because we all, the Airbnb operates, some of them operate off the grid. So that meant that there's no taxes being collected, there's nothing. So trying to get that data from them, sometimes they're a little skeptical in giving you the data as compared to the hotel. The hotel pay hotel tax. So you'll be able to, it's no problem, they share the data. But the Airbnb, they escape all that taxing unless now that we bring what they call that, the landlord tax. So that will be now they will have to register, so that we will be able to get a clearer picture as to what's happening in that space. But it must be noted, Jason, that the plant on the island today, they're just probably 2 or 3 stars, if so much, because those plants are in dire need of repairs. When I tell you dire need, I'm telling you dire need. Up to over the weekend, I was at one of the plant and there was no AC. Jason, I was sweating, and I don't know what next I will have to do, in that space. But they were hosting an event in the place, and definitely it was warm. It was really warm. I have to don my jacket, and it was really uncomfortable. So we know for sure that the present plants on the island definitely need some upgrading. So because bringing these people here, North America, and I like the market, because North America is a great market, and it could really augur well for us. But we must have proper quality room stock to treat with them. All right? So that's very, very, very important. Jason, so we have this thing about the implementation. And what we see as business in terms of implementation, we are the business community, setting clear timelines, transparent procurement process, efficiency, project execution, and regular progress update. There are things happening in the space in Tobago that half of Tobago just don't know happening. And it's important that the THA focus on letting people know what's happening, giving us regular progress update, and transparent in the way in which they do business. It's important because there's no opposition in Tobago. So we, the business community, and NGOs have to be holding the assembly to task when it comes to these things. And we will definitely do our job as an NGO. And we're hoping that the other NGOs and them look on and understand that somebody need to keep the assembly accountable for what is being done on the island.
So I'm hearing that there's going to be a major push towards the agriculture sector. Food security is of paramount importance to this THA administration. And I'm hearing that the CPEP staff will now be absorbed into this new agriculture program. But I'm trying to figure out, folks who would have worked for just a couple hours, especially in the morning, coming from that culture, because the CPEP and the URP, from what I understand, is still going to run in Tobago. All right. Granted, it's been phased out in Trinidad, Tobago. The wheels are still turning. How are they going to get that particular mind shift? Because agriculture can't just be an early morning scenario. I would imagine this mega farm plan is going to be an all-day affair. How are they going to really get folks to make that shift as it pertains to hours? I mean, did they give any details as to how they're going to get this done? Because even people like Diane Haddad, businesswoman there, she found some of the plans are a bit vague. But I want to really do a deep dive into that particular policy for the food security and absorbing the CPEP staff into these mega farms to get that ball rolling.
Jason, you hit the nail on the head. As we indicated, the budget was just an overview, and then digging down into the measures or digging down into things that will really give you that understanding in man on the street to understand what's happening in the space. Because re-engineering the CPEP mentality or the minds of the CPEP folks into farming is a difficult task. As you mentioned, they normally do 2-3 hours on mornings, if so much, and then to get them there now going and treating with agriculture on a massive way, in a mega way, is not an easy task. And I know they will have some pushback on that. Definitely will have some pushback on it. So it meant maybe they're just going to do 2 hours on these farms, because to get someone from CPEP to start probably 6 in the morning and go all the way till probably 11, and so as the case may be, it would definitely be a challenge. And one of the big things that they always talk about is washroom facilities and the different things. Hence the reason why they lose those small hours. It would be like tasks. So I think that being a re-engineering, and I know they will get some pushback on it. But I await on Thursday, because they indicated on Thursday the various secretaries will be the one to flesh out some of these initiatives that they spoke about. So it is up to us now to wait with bated breath to hear what these secretaries have to say come Tuesday. Breaking out all these initiatives, because they're a great initiative. They are great news bites. The song's really good. But as I indicated, that the budget is just not, it's about economics and implementation. But that is what we want to see. We would judge them by the speed and effectiveness of the delivery, because it's important that they deliver based on what they have stated. We're coming up with a new action plan. So
in essence, Diane Haddad's assessment, businesswoman, established and respected in Tobago, her assessment of it being rather vague is not truly unfair. It's more or less, she's spot on.
It's not unfair, because as I indicated, the average man on the street, listening to the budget and understanding some of the workings, he would be a bit lost. And hence the reason why we would need someone now to break this thing down into pieces so that they could all accept it. Not putting this as an education script, but maybe as an action item, so that we all can understand what's really happening. Because there need to definitely be some broken down. The parts need to be broken down into bite-sized pieces, so that we could accept what's going into the sector, and so that the same CPEP people could understand what they're really getting themselves involved with, and the same people like myself, we could appreciate all that they have to be spoke about. Because when you look at what's happening in Tobago now, we saw there was a lot of paving going on. And we will say, yes, kudos to the Secretary for Road. But when we drive on the highway today and see the highway needs some major repairs, and I'm talking about capital investment to repair the entire Claude Noel Highway, because that highway is becoming like a main road. There are lots of potholes and there are lots of sinks. I mean, Jason, is really getting terrible on the highway. So we need to see how they're going to tackle all these big infrastructure issues that have to be done. Not keeping in mind, Jason, that as I said, the economy now is sluggish, and we need that kind of stimulant to kind of resurrect the economy. So we're speaking about getting construction moving, and getting construction moving in a really meaningful way. And why is that construction is moving? We're talking about payments of service providers, and I know all these things have to be kind of synchronized with each other. We cannot have things moving and suppliers have to wait 30 and 90 days to receive the payment. They spoke about digitalization of all the divisions and making ACH a main thing so that people get paid on time. Again, as I said, these are global things that they can talk about, but getting down to the nitty-gritty within the division, that where they prefer to put it in Jason.
How do we move away from that dependence on THA? Because I know they employ the majority of folks on the island. How do we get private sector folks to get that more entrepreneurial spirit? Because I know Tobagonians, that's something that they possess. I have seen in real time whether it's a little annex to the back of the home, people will fix it up, rent it out. We go back to what you mentioned with the guest house. Tobagonians are very enterprising, very business oriented. That's been my observation going to the space for many years as a little child to now as a big man. How do we foster that kind of energy and make it more sustainable and move away from this major dependence on that THA salary?
And Jason, and that's what we spoke about at our meeting the chamber last management meeting.
Yes, I was in the meeting, President Williams.
Yes, we move away from the dependency of the THA to get into private sector, enabling private sector to do meaningful things. And we realized that there were some gaps in private sector, even accessing financing, even accessing to do projects on behalf of the government and so forth. And we as a division, we recognize these gaps. We started on that project of laying out, getting you in a state of readiness to do delivery, getting you prepared for those advent of things to happen. Some of them were lacking in financing, some were lacking in just a mere fact of how they market this stuff. And we at the chamber, we have devised products that will be able to, and training to assist and the business community in doing so. And these products will be laid out within the next couple of weeks. And we hope that all the business community, you don't have to be a member. We open some of the workshops to the whole of Tobago to get involved and understand these processes and understand what it takes to be in doing real business, not business on the side, but real business and being an entrepreneur yourself.
All in all, as we look to wrap things up, are you optimistic?
Well, Jason, I'm happy to see finally the airport is going to open. Jason, I couldn't wait. I mean, it's just a breath of fresh air with that opening of the new terminal building. And if you look up to this morning, I just drove past there. It was looking marvelous. And I can see myself with that airport being open and direct flights coming in and the buzz and that whole new, that new game changer on the island, Jason. That's a breath of fresh air for Tobagonians. Really, really a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, so you feel a sense of optimism, and obviously with the new airport and with the push to get direct flights I'm seeing here from Toronto, Miami, and Ogle in Guyana, I mean, that's a good look. But as you would have mentioned, and I go back to what you have said, not only today, but on numerous occasions, the bed stock, the quality of beds, the quality of rooms, and more so, what ultimately is the Tobago tourism product? Is it a hybrid between that upscale experience and the rootsman tourism experience, toes in the sand, pulling the fishnet, Doncaster with the locals, or is it just that rootsman? Because there are folks who want that, they want that authentic rootsman. You complained about the lack of AC, but there are some people that's what they want. They want the heat, they want the sweat. But then, how do we strike that balance? Is there data to establish what ultimately the customers want from Tobago and what is really and truly Tobago's tourism product? Could we answer that question this morning, President Williams?
Well, Jason, and you said it much plainer than anyone, because I've said it before. We need to recognize what are we going to target, because we'll be talking about destination marketing. We need to know what focus what's focus group we're going to do that marketing to, instead of we going out there and just spending lots of money trying to do whatever. We must focus on that particular market, and we look for exits, as you said, whether it's going to be a hybrid to be the community tourism with the other mass tourism. We need the both. We need the mass tourism to bring the numbers in, and we need the community tourism to bring the niche where we can have those high ends and give you that whole experience of Tobago, with all of that knitted into creating sport tourism, in creating ecotourism, in creating beach tourism. So we all want to see that whole thing map out and make a clear, definite direction for the tourism product in Tobago. You're correct, Jason. You're really, really correct.
Any closing remarks, President Williams, as we wrap things up?
Well, I just want to tell the Assembly that we are the business community. We hold steadfast, and we're ready to partner with the THA in all these areas to make this thing a reality in Tobago, because the time have gone where it's a lot of talk now, and we really down to action now. The Tobago people have waited for a very long time to start to see some action. People have definitely suffered, as we can see, but now we see there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we ask the THA, come, let's work together and push this reality going forward.
Well, again, we heard yesterday in real time from Finance Secretary Petal Ann Roberts. We heard also from the Chief Secretary as it relates to this $4+ billion budget. And I guess now, as you rightfully said, it's for implementation and to see how they put some of these plans into action for the benefit, ultimately, of Tobago. President Williams, always a pleasure. We'll touch base soon.
Okay, then. Take care, Jason. Bye-bye.
Indeed, we stay in Tobago, because when we come back, Nkosi Phillips, the political leader, Unity of the People, joins me to discuss fiscal 2027, the THA budget. Nkosi Phillips, up next.
Lucozade, bring the energy. Unbeatable taste, new look.
The Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, teaching the truth about God's people, God's plans, and the secrets of God, all written within the pages of the Holy Bible, which is the Word of God. Watch The Hidden Truth every Thursday at 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. on CNC3.
The fact that they ask the questions, those challenging questions that no other media house would ask. So, shed light on those things that are in the dark, those stories that no one else wants to cover.
I grew up reading The Guardian, actually. It's a household name.
About The Guardian, one thing that I like, the human interest stories have increased.
See the investigative pieces on the human trafficking. I find that very interesting.
You go more in depth.
On sports, especially local sports, and that's one of my highlights for The Guardian.
Yeah, I read in Guardian since The Guardian started coming out, started working. I was a newspaper man.
Could the stories that are being covered are well detailed and you get more facts.
Also, I think the editorials, I think they're doing a good job on the speaking the truths, and they're challenging the government to make things better.
Me in particular, of recently, the last 2-3 months, I've been reading The Guardian. I'm seeing a lot of news about the neighborhoods and the communities, and I even saw my community featured, and I was proud.
Oh, The Guardian.
The Guardian?
Guardian. Trinidad
Guardian.
The Guardian.
The Guardian.
Trinidad Guardian. The Guardian is my first choice.
Nkosi Phillips joins me on the Zoom line this morning to give that perspective on the fiscal 2027. Of course, Nkosi, wearing your hat this morning as political leader of the Unity of the People. And through that lens, I want to ask your take on the budget. As always, good morning to you, and thanks for the time on coming on to share with us. Welcome, Nkosi.
Pleasant good morning, Mr. William. Pleasant good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. Well, I've listened to the budget yesterday from the Finance Secretary Petal, and one of the things I want to touch on, I'm still going through it, but I just want to touch on some of the things that needs to be pressed on, which is we need to be developing an all-inclusive society. We have challenges with vulnerable groups, and one of the things that they need to touch on is the disadvantages and indifferences, which is developing a truly all-inclusive society in Tobago. It requires acknowledging both the structural gaps, which is the disadvantage and systematic apathy, and the indifference that keeps population marginalized. One of the things also to look at is community tourism, which I've heard them talk about community tourism, but they need to look more stronger at for example, I have a proposal that I've mentioned to the Finance Secretary about developing Buku and the integrated facility and how we do the tourism with the community, especially looking at these structures. And I think the THA has a blueprint, which is a pathway to prosperity. But when we talk about prosperity, it has to look at the life in the future without maternal prosperity. It has to look at shifting towards a model focusing on care, community, creativity, and ecological sustainability rather than less material accumulation. So the budget was extended, and the things that I want to look at especially is the socio-economic and income deprivation. We have to look at geographical infrastructural disparity, the digital divide, the labor market mismatch, because remember, we are also looking at Tobago of leaving a high percentage of certified unskilled youth unemployed and, discouraged without jobs. So, the budget was really good. I'm still breaking it down, but I'm just, having this interview. Those are some of the things that are pressing, and I know that the budget is going to leave them at they're trying to develop an inclusive society. I know the Finance Secretary is trying to push towards that, and that is what I picked out of what he's trying to do there, and, it's encouraging, and it's just up to me as a political leader to either we help that budget go forward. It's a little, how to say, up in the air, because when I looked at past budgets under that administration, there were a lot of say I will do this or say that this is what is needed, and nothing is done, or some things are still left undone. Yeah. So that's what I've pulled so far. So
Nkosi, let me go back to your first point. You would have mentioned the marginalized community and I guess equity in that regard. I just want you to dig a little bit deeper, explain to me the correlation between sorting that issue out and financial progress, how does that now relate in your mind or correlate to the financial wheels turning and generating that momentum business-wise in Tobago?
We have to not look at just only the THA's part of it. There must be a collaboration with just the stakeholders and the community and the THA. When I talk about marginalized and the challenges, we also have to look at communities that are built up and the ones who are neglected. Now that they hold the 15 seats, we are looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing all the communities are on the equal page in terms of this community not going to get more because this is a PA community, this is a community from the YouTube community. No. And that is what I'm talking about. I need to see, because when I look and listen to the budget, we're seeing all the things done in more of the east side of Tobago, and still there's a neglect in some of the communities. Some of the communities still, we're seeing a neglect still.
Could you probably name one of the communities? Could you tell me, because again, there are many people who live in Trinidad who, to their surprise, they see, most people from Trinidad who come to Tobago, they might just maneuver between Crown Point and Scarborough, right? So they maneuver on that stretch. That's what they see, the Jade Monkey, the Store Bay, Pigeon Point, and they feel all that is Tobago. And there are parts of Tobago, as we know, depressed. Really some, probably not as brutal as you would see the kind of sufferation here in Trinidad, but there are some areas that really need an upliftment. As you know, we always speak frank. Could you really dig down as to where and what areas need that top up at this point in time?
Well, we just seen a media release where the Lescotho men were calling for jobs and calling for careful consideration from the person in the area, which is the Secretary of Tourism, Ms. Risha Haggard. I look at when I pass through some of the places, especially Mason Hall, looking at the Mount Pleasant area, the Plymouth area. And some of these places, there's still a neglect. And I know that they're in office for the second term. Those are some of the areas that, people are calling out for help and stuff, and there's a neglect there. And I believe that as I said, the budget speaks to a futuristic development, but the futuristic development and prosperity is not going to work unless there is a turning point where it is feasible to the people and sustainable development. We also look at which one of the major things that they mentioned in the budget, the finance secretary mentioned, was the lack of persons or men and women making children. And there's an incentive by the chief secretary, but we have to understand that the incentive from the chief secretary of $500 does not make sense to an average person who's working on a salary from since way back then. We have to look at the high rise in food prices. So persons will defer from making children because I'm not going to make a child now and Pampers is $250 and you give me $500. And milk is a pound of milk is $2 something and you just give me $500 one time off. It has to be, or it has to make sense. So, as I said, when you asked me the last question in terms of the different communities, I look at Lescotho, I look at Mount Pleasant still neglect to a certain extent. I look at when driving through also, you look at the roads and you look at the patch on the roads and stuff. And then you also look at also the lack of persons making children to populate or to carry the population even higher. And when they ask about incentives, no matter what incentives you put, it has to coincide with the salary, with the cost of living in Tobago across the border. Let me ask you,
Nkosi, I would have mentioned, I saw via the budget presentation and even some utterances from the Chief Secretary, the push now towards food security, towards agriculture being, again, on the front burner. There was a time when Tobago used to produce so much that they would send food to Trinidad. I recall the days of the Tobago pigeon peas and, certain products from Tobago in abundance. Clearly, we're not there anymore. He's probably trying to go back to those glory days. What's your take on absorbing the CPEP and the URP staff into this program to push these mega farms in Tobago? Because, again, those words came out of his mouth, and it seems that there is this new wave, this momentum towards food security in Tobago.
We've heard that same mantra so many times. Even when I think the takeover from Ansel Dennis, who was trying to do something with agriculture, we've seen it. We've seen the equipment purchasing, but I think I went to a meeting that was held by Minority Leader Kevin Morris, and one of the agricultural persons was specifically saying is that there is a favoritism, a political nepotism. And this agricultural thing has to be across the border. You cannot just want to give land or incorporate CPF and URP when there must be a structure. Either the CPF and URP are had to maintain the clean, green, safe and security, or they had to be agricultural doorkeepers or to do this and to do that. There must be also an understanding of the level of food that we need in Tobago, and that could carry us not just to sell Trinidad, but to sell also to the international market, notwithstanding the fact that the government of Tobago just passed a bill to stop coconut and this other thing that we have, whereby you know that it carries the sweets in Tobago. So when he talks about food security, it has to make sense, because coconut call European or super because I'm going to ask when they get a salary, they haven't been paid to this. I'm aware that persons have not been paid yet. So incorporating CVP and URP, it must make sense into the agricultural sector. Is either we carry their time limits from 7 to 12, we then move them to a certain amount of, or have them carried on to an 8 to 4 process or an 8 to 2 process. We can't just have a CPP and URP working from 7 to 9 and then the young man back on the street or the persons back on the street again. The URP and CPP incorporation into the agricultural sector must make sense. You must have education of the agricultural sector. You're just saying, okay, we're going to take a gang from URP and let's carry them to let's go and plant lettuce. No, there must be an understanding of the agricultural sector. There must be an understanding and education of what to plant during the seasons that are beneficial to Tobago and the economy and the revenue making, and you go along from there. As I said, things can work in this budget, but it also has to deal with the mentality of the people of Tobago. The people of Tobago has not to have a dependency on all the teaching. I have to get some teacher, but also have to work alongside with the teacher. That if the teacher wants to work alongside with the people in the community.
Look, see, let me ask, and again, we want to pivot from the agriculture, and I thank you for the commentary there. Let's go back to the tourism discussion. You are well-traveled. I know on your travels you always promote Tobago. So ultimately, what is the Tobago tourism product? I continue to ask that question every single time. And more so, do you welcome these? Well, I guess the potential is there. It's not confirmed, but the push is to get some direct flights from, namely, Toronto, Miami, and I'm hearing Ogle out there in Guyana. Let's treat with tourism and where we are and what ultimately is the Tobago tourism product. Because you mentioned community tourism. Is that your vision for Tobago, that community tourism, or do we push for the upscale?
Yeah, that is part of my vision, and that is something that I've heard in the blueprint, and that I would have picked up the pathway. But that is what I've heard. It is not been acted upon. Tourism in Tobago has been dead since 1942. And I say that with sarcasm to show that since 2005, the tourism chief, the tourism chamber of commerce chairman, he said it in the last arrival that they have of 90,000 persons way back in 2005. And since then, it gradually depleted. As of last year, something they had 11,000 or less than that of tourist arrivals. And as I said, they would have the finance secretary talked about community tourism, and I said there's a proposal for community tourism. Now, Jason, I'm saying it again. Tobago, this determination, this tourism secretary, they do not know what is the product tourism, the product of tourism for Tobago. When you understand it, and I'm going to elaborate on it, I know you're going to ask me what is it. I'm going to say to you, I've mentioned it so many times. I've stood on the platform on and off and mentioned it, and nobody listens. And as far as I'm saying it, persons are getting paid to advise them. Now, as I said the last election, it is time for me to be advised by getting paid to the same way. Because if you do not understand your product, if you do not understand how to market your product, and if you do not carry back the community, because I'm saying it again, one group, which is a company, is doing all the cultural activities. Before, under the PNM administration, there was persons going into the communities and targeting the community. Okay, for example, Bethel, they will send somebody to teach pan. They will send somebody to do dancing. In Buku, they will send somebody to do the goat racing. They will send dancers or a dance tutor to the schools or the community to bring together the young people and target what cultural heritage came from Buku. They will send somebody to Lescotho to target the long-time drum story tradition, all these things. And that is what is missing, community tourism. And it will not work, and tourism will not work if there is not a full partnership from the people, because you have persons with attitude. You are seeing on social media a person saying, I come to buy food, and this person have an attitude, and then the people are smiling in Tobago. Everything has to coincide, and there is no working together. Moving forward, if the Tobago House of Assembly wants to, this budget for 2027 fiscal year, to move forward, and to especially talk about tourism, we all have to work together, political leaders, because as I said to Secretary William, Secretary of Finance, we talked, and as I said, she's very accommodating my proposals and stuff. If I told her that it has to be not just a THA or TVP blueprint, but it has to be a blueprint of the people of Tobago. It has to be a blueprint of where you open the doors for other political leaders as myself. For example, you're having THA events, or you're having a discussion, invite your political leaders like myself and others to have their discussion, because they also speak for a minority of the people in Tobago. It cannot be a selfish way that we as TPP and PNM did it, we want to do better. It has to be a collaborative effort of stakeholders, political leaders, and everybody to help build the tourism in Tobago. We need to capitalize our tourism product and have it level from January to December. You cannot be sending somebody, a group of people, to China in January to market Carnival. You can't come back again and send the same people every year to China. You cannot send them every year to market. You have to capitalize the tourism product from January to December of what events happen in Tobago for tourism, and then go out there and market it.
Well, Nkosi, as always, sincere thanks, sir. Sincere thanks. We will touch base soon, and as always, all the best. And let's see how things pan out in sweet Tobago. All the best, Nkosi.
I wish you the best, and I'm looking forward to this budget being presented, and let's see what it will be given to us from Tobago and how we work with it. And I'm going to work with the THA to make sure that things are happening good as well. If offered the opportunity, I'm always to tell you hello again this morning. Thank you so much.
For sure, unity of the people, political leader there, Nkosi Phillips, touching base. Up next, your news update. Your calls after 7.
Looking for the ultimate gaming experience? Welcome to Phase 22 Gaming Lounge, where gamers of all ages come to play, compete, and have fun. Dive into your favorite games on PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, or race on our high-tech racing rigs. And experience the thrill of VR with PlayStation and Meta Quest. Our lounge is safe, comfortable, and perfect for everyone. When you're done, check out the latest gaming systems, accessories, and even Samsung and Apple phones. Visit us on the second floor of Gulf City Mall or call 786-2404 to book your gaming session today.
Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in Trinidad and Tobago, driven by 2 silent threats, diabetes and high cholesterol. But now there's a powerful ally, introducing Berberine Plus by Asia Nutrition, clinically proven to stabilize blood sugar and keep cholesterol levels in check. With 99.9% pure extract, you get superior absorption and real results. Available now at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Berberine Plus, your heart deserves better.
Sportsmanship is when an athlete walks off the court and you can't tell if he won or lost because he carries himself with pride either way. This quote is an embodiment of sport, and for me, sport is an embodiment of life. We are where you are.
filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
Time Check, brought to you by the Central Bank and the National Financial Literacy Program.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Jesse Ramde with headline news here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. Work on landmark TT's Properties $100 million Allenby residential development in Corinth, San Fernando is continuing as normal despite an ongoing review by the Office of Procurement Regulation. Weeks ago, the OPR confirmed it was looking into complaints about landmark TT's handling of the project's procurement process. In a letter dated April 20th, the regulator said it received allegations that the state company used selective tendering instead of open bidding, potentially breaching the Public Procurement Act. Landmark TT CEO's Nishal Shane Poonen told CNC3 News the company has complied with all requests from the regulator and is awaiting a response. He stressed the OPR is reviewing the process, not investigating the enterprise itself, and that no stop order has been issued. Poonen added Landmark TT's operation and projects continue as planned, though he declined to give a progress update on the Corinth development. Attempts to reach Land and Legal Affairs Minister Saddam Hussein and Procurement Regulator Beverly Khan were unsuccessful up to newstime. In other news, the Fair Trading Commission is stepping up engagement with the business community, signaling a renewed push to strengthen competition and build more resilient markets in Trinidad and Tobago. Chairman of the Fair Trading Commission, Nisha Prasad, says meaningful collaboration with businesses is critical as the Commission rolls out its agenda under a new board. Speaking at a stakeholder sensitization session, Prasad emphasizes that effective regulation must go beyond enforcement, while also noting that competition remains a critical driver.
Competition is a vital component of a healthy economy. It encourages innovation, promotes efficiency, supports entrepreneurship, attracts investment, and ultimately benefits consumers through greater choice, better quality, and improved value. Strong competition policy is therefore not simply a legal or regulatory issue, but is an issue of economic development.
And a family of 7, including 3 children, is trying to rebuild after a Sunday morning fire destroyed the upper level of their 2-story home and damaged other parts along Lucky Street extension in Laramie. Aliyah Small and her mother, Alicia Mohammed, escaped safely to the lower story after spotting flames racing through the upstairs apartment, but not before desperately calling on neighbors for help. Small also suffered an injury after glass pieces hit her hand while she rushed to secure the house. On Sunday, burnt furniture, bicycles, books and household items lay scattered among the rubble of the upper story owned by Small's aunt, Teresa Christopher, underscoring the scale of the loss. Although the downstairs apartment escaped severe fire damage, much of it was soaked as firefighters battled the blaze. Small says the terrifying experience has continued to replay in her mind long after the flames were extinguished. Well, stay tuned for another news update at the top of the hour and for comprehensive coverage in our midday news and major newscast at 7 p.m. on CNC3.
The detergent smells nice while washing, but when you use the new Downy Intense fabric softener, with its new multi-capsule fragrance, it releases an intense scent that lasts twice as long. With the new Downy Intense, you'll enjoy a rich and delightful fragrance that keeps you feeling fresh 24/7.
Low energy? Heart concerns? Migraines slowing you down? It's time to take control of your health. Join Wellness Unlocked, the series that brings expert advice and real solutions for a healthier you. In our latest episode, learn how Jameson CoQ10 can help support heart health, boost energy, and even reduce migraines. Get the science, the stories, and the steps to power up your health with CoQ10. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on CNC3 and start your wellness journey today.
Step into ABC Doors and Windows, where quality meets variety. Discover premium wooden, steel panel, fiberglass, and steel security doors alongside aluminum, UPVC, and steel windows designed for strength and durability. At ABC, we're always a better choice, delivering products built to last and service you can rely on. Visit our showroom at 1 Chanka Trace, El Socorro South, or call 638-7184 to make your dream home a reality.
Welcome back. It's your second hour for today, Tuesday, the 23rd of June, 2026. Let's treat with the open forum and hear from you this morning. Shagonas standing by. Good morning, Shagonas.
Yeah, pleasant good morning, Jason.
Good morning to you. Welcome as always.
Jason, this whole fiasco with the Kyla Sealy, Joshua Samaru, and this Alicia Philip who's been protesting, I think that the police is handling this in a very much wrong way. Here's what, the elderly Samaru would have made certain statements, right? They went on Sergi Man house one time, right? They're up in arms about this, right? About trying to arrest, arresting the lady, right? When they're locked up, nobody else, right? And let me tell you something, the police going about this in a wrong way, right? The commissioner the other day asked for the public to give him their view concerning his performance, right? And it could be less than 3. It could be less than 3 out of 10. You understand what I'm saying? And when we have these officers like Mr. Pitt and Mr. Owe coming and trying to butter up things, right? And that's not only my view, Jason, right? Coming to try and sugarcoat things, because you see that is their job, That is their job, right? Because sometimes I'm gonna tell you something. These guys and them, they talking a pack of things, and when they go home and they lie down on their bed, they'll be saying they are amazed to know the kind of foolishness they'll be talking, right? Trying to fool the public, right, with what they see with their own two God-given eyes, right? So let me tell you something. Jason, I think that the police is handling this in very much of a wrong way, right? And it's going to backfire on them. Honestly speaking, it is going to backfire on them, right? We need a better commissioner. By far and large, Gary Griffith is not Jesus Christ, but by far and large, he's better than much better than waiters we have right now. Understand what I'm saying, right? And I'd like to make a statement, right, to Philip Alexander, right? Philip Alexander, listen to me. It doesn't make any sense that you're trying to brown-tongue the police, right? It doesn't make any sense that you're coming out and trying to brown-tongue the police, because the truth be told, Jason, the truth be told, the other day when he gave out the wheelchairs and stuff, that was only after the fact in Maraval, when he would have parked in where the wheelchair,
handicap
people supposed to be, right? Yeah. Correct, the handicap. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Right, the handicap supposed to be, and now and at that point in time, here we say the security tell him he could do that. So even if the security tell you could do that, you are your own good understanding know that you cannot do that. So you will blame it on the security now and coming now to try and say something else now with these wheelchairs and all kind of stupidness. Look, let me tell you something, Jason, you know I don't spare nobody. With me, everybody gets it. You understand what I'm saying? Right? And I think that, honestly speaking, that he ought to show some more respect, right? So where people are concerned. Because let me tell you something, with this man, I tell you, with this man, you greet this man on the street, he has no time for you, no. He has no time for you to give you a 1 minute, no. And I see that for myself. You have a good day, Jason.
Oliver Shagonas, thanks for touching base. As always, Shagonas getting in to give the commentary, sharp commentary as per usual. St. James, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Jason. Yeah.
Welcome.
I have one or two things I'd like to talk to you about that I've been trying to get on to you for the last, 3 or 4 sessions where I couldn't get to your Shagonas caller, takes them all the time.
No, but you're inside now. Go right ahead, man. You're inside.
Okay. Yeah, first of all, in the recent controversies involving the police and so on, why is there a remarkable silence from the Police Service Commission and the PCA, the Police Authority. Why are they so silent? I don't understand this. They are the bodies, commissioned to, act. As a matter of fact, the person with direct oversight over the police is the Police Service Commission.
Yeah.
Not the commissioner, the Police Service Commission. Not the Prime Minister. I repeat, the Police Service Commission. They're the ones constitutionally charged with oversight over the police. And they've been very silent in all the controversy concerning Sam so they've been very, very quiet. Not a word. Next point, your DPP, who supposedly allegedly gave instructions for the charging of the CD girl. Yeah. Apparently, he took only the evidence that was presented to him by the very police involved in the shooting. And remarkably, he did not take into account the reports from the Police Commission Authority, one, or CCTV footage, or civilian reports, only the report from the police. So I would like to know why is it he constrained his evidence to only involve the police's report, nothing else.
St. James, are you sure? I mean,
I'm positive. I am positive.
Because I'm thinking, again...
I know what I'm saying. I'm very positive.
I'm not defending the DPP, because, again, I don't know the individual. But what I've heard about the DPP, honestly, St. James, they said that he's a man of immense integrity. Yeah? They say that this man apparently is one of them no-nonsense, don't take nothing from nobody kind of guy. So, I mean, everybody's kind of... That's why I guess everybody was so surprised when this particular charge was laid, to be quite honest.
In all fairness to him, I must remark that he has shown, integrity and so on, all his career up to this point in time. We don't know what's happening. This is the first time we've seen some faltering on his part. What is going on? Because we know him to be a person of integrity, of course.
Yeah, that's the reports I received. People say the man is a stand-up guy.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Because this did not seem at all, correct. The PCA has had no input at all into his evidence, nor at the CCTV footage.
Well,
what's going on here?
Well, St. James, I could tell you, I want to thank you for the commentary. It's an ongoing development, and hopefully when the dust settles, we can really get to the bottom of this mystery. It's a mystery at this point in time, to be quite honest. That's the only word I could think of, because it's just keep on bringing new dimensions. And this situation with Joshua's father, again, I go back to what I said this morning. Yes, probably his utterances would have been misconstrued, out of timing, damn wrong, to be quite frank. But we have to remember, this is a grieving father whose son was killed in a hail of bullets, and every time that video shows on the TV or is on social media, he got to relive that. Just to see your son. I mean, I can't even imagine that. St. James. I don't even want to put my mind there. And this man is just frustrated, and I guess he's acting out. And I think probably a warning could have sufficed. You tell him, hey, ting, to arrest the man. But I just find like, oh, wow, hey. I think Faizabad standing by. Faizo, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Welcome, my brother. Go ahead.
How was the day yesterday?
Nice, I was going to come through Faizo, through the old road, but I ended up coming back down the highway, so I didn't get a chance to check in. I spoke to my uncle. He told me, he knows you quite well, and you do your business and stuff in Faizabad. So definitely, Faizo, we will link up soon. We will.
Yeah. Jason, I want to touch on two things. First, I sympathize with Mr. Samaruza and the situation he has found himself in. And so I am saying that I am certain that, you get a slap on the wrist from the judge or the magistrate because they will surely understand his predicament. But we do not want to set the tone where we would have left him, unscathed to a certain extent. And you have other people who are grieving as well, Jason. Would they be allowed to make the same type of statement? No. So an end has to come to it. But the other thing I want to talk about is Mr. Scotland and that case with Tiantec. I realize, we're not here, is not gaining much traction in the public space. I would have listened to his interview outside the parliament, and he kept harping on the 24th, I think, some date on the 24th, I think was it 2024, yes. But he is not talking about the 3 earlier affidavits that it cannot be found nowhere in the registrar's office.
Mm-hmm.
So something, we are not digging deep enough as journalists. I don't know if we're just scratching the surface, but I think based on what was revealed in Parliament, he should be made to account for the previous applications that he would have allegedly sent, and they have no records of it. So, my brother, use your good office and let me get some truth coming out of this matter, please, with the preferred list of clients who would be given preferential treatment. I can't recall seeing a member of the then opposition while the PNM was in government on that list, Jason.
Well, Faisal, I want to thank you for that. I just want to go back really quick to the first point. Is Faisal still there? Oh, you go on. Oh, goodness. Hey, Faisal, thanks as always. We'll probably continue with the discussion tomorrow. Let's head to Santa Cruz.
I don't know if you just...
Morning, Santa Cruz.
Morning, Jason. How everything? Because the weather nice in Santa Cruz.
Nice. We're going to get some rain.
Hamburg, France yesterday.
Yes.
You understand me?
Apparently, we're going to get some rain in Santa Cruz. From what Sagoni mentioned, we have some rain in store for the rest of the week. So prepare yourself. But go ahead, Santa Cruz. I'm listening.
Yeah, Jason. I believe the Philip girl who the police arrested at the Faizabad march, I believe she should be given the Hummingbird Medal as a young person standing up in defense of democracy. And I also want to indicate I believe the police have the laws wrong. Because if it is that the union was given permission to march and the union invited Philip to the first march, then they are covered under the trade union movement because they now form part of the trade union march. You understand me? It was not separate march. If they were disturbing the trade union march, then it was a different story. But at the time that the police arrested them, they were part and parcel of the trade union march.
Well, the thing is,
so the police arrest was totally out of place because they would have been covered by the trade union march because they were invited by the trade union movement. That's all Mr. Santa Cruz have to say on that. Thank you. God bless people of Santa Cruz.
God bless you, Santa Cruz. Now, I hear what Santa Cruz is saying, and even up to yesterday, and even today, I maintain that, the arrest, it wasn't necessary. Could have been a stern warning. But I guess we have to look at it also. And I try to look at it from all angles. Yes, she would have been invited. Michael Anisette absorbed her into his particular march and his momentum last Friday. But somebody would have said it yesterday on the People's Say. And he went back. That was the last commentary the guy would have given. He said that the spirit of Labor Day is to treat with workers' rights and betterment for folks who are working. He said that, march that's treating with, let's say, a political statement or more or less injustice, as it were. No, this is not me saying this. This is the guy who would have given the commentary on the news. He is suggesting that that's not the time and place. And I said, I didn't look at it through the lens. But then, when we consider Uriah Abbas Butler and what would have transpired in 1937 from then to now, I think Labor's, or at least the Labor Day March, it's evolved more than just workers' rights. It's really a place for people's voice to be heard. And I go back to my statement. Now, just put that inside there to show you that people are just showing you all different sides of the discussion and the argument. But I go back to what I mentioned this morning, that the state of emergency that we are under, which I guess would have been used as the strength and the reasoning to suppress and to mute these voices. I'm trying to figure out, what is the true intent? Because the intent, as far as I know, is to curb crime, not to curb statements and commentary. And crime, as we know it, is really the scourge and is really the Achilles heel, and it's the cancer that is eating away at our society. And that's really and truly where the officers need to put their attention on, and not so much just trying to mute people for certain statements. Really, really strange times. But again, we listen, it's open forum, and we get a chance to or at least you get a chance, most importantly, to express yourself. Up next, Karen Rose checks in, our digipreneur. Have no fear, he's here on another impactful conversation around the corner. See you soon.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry, premier insurance coverage for less.
What if we each took one small action today that could have big impact tomorrow? What if one family took a stand to reduce waste in our landfills? What if one school made a choice that can lead to a greener Trinidad and Tobago? When you recycle glass, you create jobs, reduce waste, save resources, and help preserve our environment. Glass bottles and jars are 100% recyclable and can be reused indefinitely. Recycle your glass and join the Glass Loop movement today.
Have no fear, the digipreneur is here. Karen Rose checking in with us this and every Tuesday. Karen, great to see you, man. Before we get into the business at hand, how's life? How's the last couple of weeks been for you out there in Asia? How things pumping, man?
Things have been good. I can't complain. It's been very interesting this year, 2026, because there's just been so much changing. And, you know, the fact that I've been able to kind of span 3 different countries, from Canada to the Caribbean and now Asia, just seeing how everybody and all the different communities and countries are approaching all of these changes, it's really interesting stuff. So I'm excited to be here, always excited to share, and, you know, we keep the conversation going.
That's right, and today's topic, a very interesting one. You are bringing forward tools to get paid digitally in Trinidad and Tobago in 2026 and beyond. Let's start.
Yeah.
What you need first and foremost? What's a must-have and non-negotiable?
The will to want to do these things. That is the most important part, because, Jason, I tell you this, one of the biggest things that I see in Asia that I feel like if we could adapt even 50% of this, it's their thinking and their approach. We are all going through very similar global challenges. We know AI is changing every single industry whatsoever, and just seeing how they approach how they're approaching to solving a lot of these problems and a lot of these changes is really mind-blowing. So when it comes to getting paid digitally, one of the most important aspects is your digital payment stack, because what happens is every single time we talk about the creator economy, if we talk about remote jobs or getting clients abroad, one of the reasons why people don't pursue it the way that they should is because in their mind, they haven't figured out how are they going to receive the money if I'm working for a company in another country, or if I have a client that's not in Trinidad and Tobago, how am I going to get paid? And just that fact alone stops a lot of people from trying to pursue getting paid digitally. And I've been listening to the program from the start, and one of the things I want to say is, in 2026, the conversation of the types of businesses that we create has to evolve, because in almost every conversation today, we're still talking about circulating old money in the economy. We're not talking enough about what are we going to do as Trinidad and Tobago? What types of things are we going to be able to do that we can trade on the open market to bring new money coming in? It's not just for the government to do. And that's why this conversation of digital payments is critical, because it's key infrastructure to even get started.
And, you know, going back to our conversation today and Tobago, which I think could be the perfect space and testing ground to get this ball rolling, What's your vision really? How could we get, let's say, Tobago involved to really get that ball rolling and move people away from I guess, some of the, because again, we mentioned that THA employs so many of our brothers and sisters in Tobago, and I know they have that entrepreneurial spirit. That's something I know as a fact for our brothers and sisters in Tobago. I've seen Tobago as a space with the potential to be like a digital nomad island, you know, where digital nomads could go there with their connectivity and function. How we could let's think of Tobago with this particular topic. How we could apply this to this style.
The first things first is we have to start getting people to understand that in 2026, there are so many new careers, new skill sets that are at hand that we're not even talking about. When we talk about the economy, we're still talking tourism, we're still talking construction, like we're still talking the industries we've been talking about since the birth of this country. No change, right? When we're thinking about Tobago, even before we get people, digital nomads, coming to Tobago, right, and spending money inside of the economy, if we can get more conversations around what are the newest skill sets that are available, what are the learning paths, because we don't have to rely on the local education system to upskill and get new credentials or get into new fields. Every single thing that I learn and I do today, none of it I was ever learned in Trinidad. It was always learned on the international market, because you're not limited to just learning skill sets in a school. So we have to really come together and we have to start saying to ourselves, what are the new careers, the new skill sets, and what are those learning pathways? Can we start creating just a learning path to show people these are all of these skill sets or certifications for you to become this particular field? Let's help you go through, because a lot of the starting points, a lot of it is free education online. It's just that we're not even tapping into these things. If we can do that, that would allow more people in Tobago without having to leave to come to Trinidad or go anywhere. That would allow more people to stay right in Tobago, work for companies abroad, and be able to get paid, which is why we're going to have the conversation on the payment tools, but work for companies abroad. But if you also have some of the newest skills that are relevant right now, you can start getting clients, because guess what? There are things that I have learned in the last week that have changed how I'm going to do business moving forward. And I've only learned some of these new things last week because updates to key platforms keep on happening as well.
So how does one get paid? You know, obviously you need to have your local account, but how does that money from your international client now hit that said account so you could go with your debit card, put in your code, and actually withdraw money from an ATM?
Okay, so first things first, the good news is that you don't actually even need to have a local bank account. What I'm going to tell you is going to allow you to get international USD denominated accounts. That way you get paid by trusted platforms that everybody knows about abroad, but you also have the ability to keep, hold, and spend that US dollar or a different currency if you decide to hold. So the two biggest pieces that every single person in TNT should go and register at no cost is PayPal and Payoneer. PayPal is the #1 payment processor in the world. It connects to every single platform, and just globally around the world, once somebody is trying to pay you as a client or even pay you in salary, a big chance it's going to happen through PayPal or even Payoneer. All you need to sign up for that is your passport, and just register. You don't need anything else, just your passport, which is your proof of ID, and that's going to allow you to open up your Payoneer account and also your PayPal account. So those are the two things for the payment processor. The second aspect of it is I need a bank account now. I need a place, because Payoneer and PayPal are going to process the money, but I need to be able to hold the money. This is where, and I'm saying this very slow for everybody, jump on Google and type in Charles Schwab International Account. It is an account that's typically been used for investing, and it's a brokerage account, but they've added a suite of new features that allow you to receive wire transfers, ACH payments, and you can connect the Charles Schwab bank account to PayPal. That way, when the money comes in from PayPal, from a client or your job, You get the money in your PayPal wallet. It can then go into Charles Schwab account, and they give you a USD denominated debit card that you can now use internationally. So the money never actually has to come into a local bank account where the money is trapped, and we know we can't convert TT to US dollars.
So I'm on Charles Schwab as we speak. Open an account, individual brokerage, joint brokerage, I guess individual brokerage.
Yeah, so you open up the individual account. The individual account is free. Right. Once you go through that process, it's very straightforward. It'll take you about 10 to 15 minutes. You just need to have your passport and also either a utility bill or a bank statement and something with your name, bank statement, utility bill, or a lease agreement in your name, and that'll be your proof of who you are, and you can go through it registering. So that's the next big thing. The other thing is, if you don't want to use Charles Schwab, there is another platform that came out a couple of weeks ago. It's made by a Jamaican entrepreneur who's based out of Miami. So it's an American company, but the owner is Jamaican. This platform is called Sendana, 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 Sendana. That would allow you now to create a digital wallet that can connect to PayPal. They also give you a Visa debit card as well. So when that money comes into your Sendana account, again, you don't have to bring the money back into Trinidad and get the money trapped. You're going to be able to hold US dollars or even USDC, which is their digital coin in the US. You can hold either one of those currencies, and you can spend that money internationally with no limits. The only limits would be however much money is in your account.
SEN?
DANA, Sendana.
DANA. Okay. I'm going to check that out also. All right. I'm seeing a Jamaican who have put forward this.
Yeah, they just built that platform. Again, it's a US-based company, but the owner is Jamaican, right? And because we suffer from so many challenges of getting paid internationally, and that has been a bottleneck for the entire Caribbean, the Sendana platform connects to PayPal seamlessly, but it also gives you wire transfer numbers and ACH capabilities as well. So if somebody does want to do bank transfers to you and they're in the US, you're going to be able to receive that. So digital payments is a key critical piece of infrastructure that everybody should go and sign up even when you don't need it, because if we do this thing correctly and we start to upskill our nation, which is where we really should be making our focus right now, how are we going to upskill our nation to participate in the global economy? If we have more people with digital skill sets and working for companies abroad or getting clients abroad, Jason, everybody's going to be getting paid in a higher currency, and we have more inflows of revenue coming in rather than just waiting for oil and gas to pop off. We need more people with digital ready skills that we can export those skills, because here's the big difference. You could learn a lot of these skill sets for free. But when we keep talking about agriculture and tourism, a lot of the things, and construction, a lot of the industries we keep talking about require so much investment that they're not going to come on stream anytime soon, if they come on stream, because we know how our history has played out. So this is where I really think more people need to jump on ChatGPT or Google and start researching the digital skills, because if you can start getting paid, then that's going to help increase the money coming into TNT altogether.
Karen, I must say, today's program, it's been golden. As always, great information. I know many are taking notes, and you're going to transform lives, and you continue to inspire not only myself, but the audience to
Thank you.
Go beyond the boundary, to think, beyond the shores, and to become a global citizen. Because, ultimately, Karen Rose, we don't want to get left behind. And I feel like that's what's happening, and we could change it with these conversations. We can't be left behind. We need to be up to the time, and we are like salt, and I always say we're not no regular salt. We're not a pala salt, we are Himalayan salt, Trini's in everything. Look at you out there, you in everything. Right? So we are premium salt, and let's keep that momentum, man, Karen Rose. I'll let you have the final say.
Agreed. Agreed. Listen, I'm going to be, talking about these things. If you check out the TNT Guardian every single Thursday, my column in there, we're going to be focusing on digital payments over the next couple weeks. So this Thursday, if you want to learn all about the Charles Schwab account, you could wait for that or just jump on Google. I already have some content online, but we need to have the digital payment infrastructure in place, because now if we want more job opportunities, if we want to create more revenue, we want to get more clients, it's going to happen beyond our shores. We can no longer just rely on circulating money inside the economy. We got to bring new money inside.
Well said, Karen Rose. Yes, man. We are pink Himalayan salt. Premium salt. That's what we are, Trinbagonians. We don't know.
The salt of the earth. The salt of the earth.
I think it's part of salt by Uncle Boyo and Miss Elsie? No. No. We are premium salt. We need everything, and we need to be in this conversation, this global finance conversation. Well done, Karen Rose. Have a safe one, buddy. We're back in for the World Cup.
You too. You know what?
Canada?
I haven't, this is the first year. This is the first year I haven't fully paid attention because, I don't know, something about this World Cup just hasn't hit me yet. So I can't say who I'm backing, but at some point I'm going to get involved and I'm going to get into it and I'll tell you which bandwagon I've jumped on.
All right, for sure. Tell me next week. Hey, all the best, man.
All right, cool, for sure. All right, take care.
Yeah, man, touching base. Wow, what a conversation. Listen, I am Charles Schwab, the other particular website you would have mentioned. Great information, boy, and it's all free and it's all available right here on the Morning Brew. Up next, we get a chance to touch base with Dr. Allen. We're dealing with survivors and that important conversation of hope and inspiration. Conversations on cancer. Next.
Period nights don't have to look like this. Move less, wake up to change. So change for a real night's sleep with Always Overnight. Its 3 times protection system absorbs, locks the fluid, and keeps it away from your skin. For protected nights without leaks. Always.
Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chaguanas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Welcome to Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Do enjoy, Stacey. You want some coffee?
Can I have a bit?
Perfect then.
That's exactly what we need.
Hi, the pool is this way.
Whatever you're here for, we're here for you. Stay smart at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Dr. Allen joins me on the Zoom line this morning. Survivorship, that important conversation, that inspiration, that sense of hope. And we go through again another chance to express and to share your story with not only myself and the team here, but the audience. And I want to thank you for that transparency, that honesty, and for giving us a little insight into your personal journey. Doc, great to see you. Good morning.
Great to see you, Jason. Always nice to chat with you. Good morning.
Dr. Allen, I want to ask on a personal level, based on all that you would have accomplished in your life, every single challenge that would have come your way, there are certain moments where probably you feel that the odds might have been stacked up against you and you was able to accomplish your studies, get through with your profession. Whatever it would have been, based on your lived reality, would you say beating cancer, being able to survive, come out on the winning side of that, is that probably like one of the more milestone moments in your life, one of the greatest accomplishments?
Well, it ranks second to having well-adjusted children, so I think I did that.
Yes.
But certainly, Jason, beating cancer, not only surviving, but thriving after my journey. I think I'm pretty proud of what I've been able to do, and really grateful for all the people who have helped me along the way to survive and thrive.
Because I would imagine in your profession, you know, a medical professional, it would have hit a bit different to get that diagnosis and to have to know, because you would have been on the side of giving people advice and probably having to deliver news in the past, and now you are there receiving news, and it puts your whole life and mortality and everything into question. I just walk me through that particular moment again, and the kind of mindset and strength you had to muster up, really, to get through it.
Yeah, I mean, the worst patient is a doctor. Anytime any one of us has a doctor in our office, we kind of cringe, because as doctors, we know all the horrible statistics. We know all the poor survival rates. We know all the complications of the diseases, of the treatment that we will have to go through. And that's the first thing that hits you when you get a diagnosis. You know, will I be able to manage chemotherapy? Will I have all these absolute horrible side effects that I myself have managed in other patients? So there's this added layer of fear that I think that we face as medical professionals when we get such a diagnosis. But there's a flip side to that, because not only as medical professionals do we see poor outcomes, but we also see the success stories. And those are the ones that you really have to tap into, hold on to, and try to make it your own. So that, yes, initially, of course, once you get that diagnosis, your brain goes to the worst place ever, the deepest, darkest place. And that's fine. You stay there and for a little while, and you allow that grief and fear and anger to pass through you. But then you have to find the light. Yes, I have seen somebody else go through this, and they're doing okay. And this is why our survivorship stories are so absolutely important, to get out there and let people know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not all bad. It's not all horrible. It's not going to be a walk in the park. We're not being Pollyanna and wearing rose-colored glasses, but there is hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And even while you're going through your journey, you can have a successful survivorship story.
You know, and that's why I'm started the conversation by thanking you for being so open and transparent and sharing, because I would imagine now, based on your survivorship experience, your lived reality, the Dr. Allen that emerged on the winning side is probably even more a beacon when it comes to explaining or treating with a patient now who is going to, for the first time, face this dark side, face this moment of their mortality. Would you say there's been a new and improved version of Dr. Allen coming out of the winning side, being able to really, because I'm sure you would have used your words and, you know, empathy in the past before the diagnosis, but now, because you would have gone through it, probably find you're probably sharper, I would imagine, with your delivery when it comes to these kind of moments.
Well, maybe we may have to ask my patients and some of my colleagues, but I think so, because now I am able to go there with the patient when some of my colleagues may not be able to understand. So I'm a pediatrician, so I deal with the parents of children. And so now I can understand when we are trying to explain a diagnosis and, you know, we're using all the terminology and okay, this is what we're dealing with and this is how we treat it. And I realize now that we have to stop. We have to kind of stop, give them time to process, slow it down a little bit, allow the tears, allow the grief, and sometimes you may even have to revisit the conversation on another day, just to give them time to process. And I think I have understood that, because Jason, let me tell you, when I got the diagnosis, it was actually one of my classmates who had been in medical school with who gave me the diagnosis. I was in his office. And I'm sitting there smiling, and oh yeah, we're having a conversation. And I'm sure he thought I was crazy because he told me the diagnosis and I continued smiling. And And at the end of it, I kind of like, wait, what did you say? What did you just say to me? And he had to repeat it. And I left his office and I went out into the car park. And before I got into the car, I was like, again, what did he just say to me? What? So sometimes you really do have to slow it down for the patients. Take it right down. Use smaller words, give information in very small bites, and allow time for processing.
Yeah.
So delivering the diagnosis may actually be a process over a few days, and then you can get into treatment. So coming out of my own lived experience, I think that I understand that a little bit better.
Yeah, I could only imagine, and I want to thank you for that. Doc, what adjustments you would have made post survivorship, being able to come out on the winning side? Would you say there's a different Dr. Allen now compared to before the diagnosis in terms of diet, in terms of lifestyle? Any major adjustments?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The first thing, see that stress? Oh my goodness. So you have to find a way, easier said than done, but to kind of rid your life of baggage. You know, anything that's not bringing you, and I don't even want to use the word joy, but anything that's not bringing you comfort, and is, as they say, a botheration to your spirit. You need to try to get that out, because when you're stressed, when you're anxious, we all know all the research on your cortisol rising and all of that, and deleterious effects on the body. So I think that's the number one thing. Of course, I know my trainer is watching, so he's going to laugh. But yes, fitness is important, even though I complain a lot in the gym. And trying to keep yourself healthy. What helped me a lot was that before my diagnosis, I was fairly healthy. I was managing things like blood pressure, blood sugar. Diet wasn't of the best. We're still working on it. But I was very healthy, so I managed the rigorous treatment better than somebody who wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
So all those things are very important. And even during your treatment, movement is so important. I had a lot of my treatment abroad, and even though I felt the most horrible, the physiotherapist will come into my hospital room, get me out of bed, make sure I walked up and down the corridor when that was the last thing I wanted to do. So movement is absolutely important.
Dr. Allen, as always, great to see you.
It is, yes.
Always a joy, and thanks so much, as always, for sharing and inspiring hope and giving that sense of inspiration to anyone going through that struggle, to let them know they could come out on the winning side.
Yes, they can. They can. And we have a little group with our Cancer Society, our Survivors Network. We would really love to have as many people as possible, especially men. Jason, our group has one lone man. And we know there's so many men out there. Yeah. And we support each other, we love each other. At any part of your survivorship story you are, so email projects@cancer.tt and come join us.
For sure. All the best, Dr. Allen. Thanks so much, as always.
Jason.
That's
Have
right.
a great day.
Same to you. To wrap things up, we will take the pause and come back and get into details regarding the Menopause Awareness Seminar, Embracing the Change, the National Women Action Committee. They're putting this on, and we're going to get some details.
Gaming Express Limited is a premium importer and retailer of the highest quality brand name electronics. We stock the widest range of PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Samsung, and Apple devices and accessories. Visit us at Shop 52, Level 2, Gulf City Mall in San Fernando, or contact us by phone or WhatsApp message at 687-7480 or 301-9797 or 798-1280. Like our Facebook and Instagram pages for updates on products and services.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Brand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Brand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make some day today. One life, so make it good.
your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
We are your one-stop, most convenient, most helpful, most caring community pharmacy. Our pharmaceutical services include dispensing medicines, repeat dispensing, clinical governance. But we also have a fully stocked convenience store featuring our refreshment aisle, grocery lane, personal care products, toys, pet supplies. We are most conveniently located out of the traffic, just 2 minutes off the highway in Heartland Plaza in Deba Shagonas. Contact us on 220-8705 or 470-5938 and visit us soon.
KC Ginger Mint, your trusted and natural wellness. Now with healthier options. KC Ginger Mint with honey and lime. KC Ginger Mint with orange and KC Ginger Mint with lemon. KC Ginger, honey, lemon, lime, and orange. Natural and trusted for generations for soothing sore throats and digestion and boost immunity. Get your new KC Candy Ginger Mint extended range today and breathe naturally.
Parents will do it. They'll go to work, have a day, bro, and come on and take that stress out on you.
Welcome to another episode of Manhood.
Everybody will do what they need to do to get what they want.
And if they can't fit in to the norms, then what they have to do, they'll survive. You know?
Not everybody wants to kill me because I might be all kind of thing, but I think I'm a good person.
The aspect of a mentor seeing something in you that you can't see in yourself.
Check yourself, because you shaped that generation.
Are we losing in many ways the values?
Since I have this Parkinson's diagnosis, there's a group, a very small type group, who will always look after me.
Lead to the VIP launch there at the Queen's Park Savannah, a very important conversation, and I know the ladies looking on this morning will be informed. It's going to be one that I think it's spot on. As we were saying before we started the live discussion, these are not any more corridor and behind some car conversation. These are important conversations, and it's to treat with menopause awareness. It's a seminar, and we're going to get some details from some of our guests this morning. We welcome Janine Ramirez, yes. And we also have with us Jillian Smith-Trumpet. Ladies, I want to say welcome to the program, and indeed I know this seminar is intentional. It was well thought out and planned, and I guess timely.
Yes.
Walk me through your target audience for this seminar on Saturday.
All right, so our target audience will be women in perimenopause and menopause. So we're looking at ladies between the age of 35, let's say, to possibly 70, and anyone else who is interested to find out what is to come in the future.
Let me ask Julian in terms of the timing and why it's important to have this conversation, because you hear menopause and so some people, they cringe. It's something they really want to discuss. It makes them feel quote unquote old, and that's clearly not the case. It's just a natural process, because we men also go through, is it andropause they call it?
Andropause, yes.
Andropause, right? Just part of the process. Tell me about the timing and why it's important.
Yes, it's definitely important, because we have to know what's going on with our bodies. And we have to know that, we have to do our own research on what is really going on, because there are different stages of menopause. I mean, you have premenopause, right? Then you have the perimenopause. Then you have surgical menopause. Then you have natural menopause. And then you have postmenopause. So you need to understand what is going on with the body. And, as we were discussing before, it's not, you have to come out of this taboo and really talk about it, because there's a lot of symptoms. And the reason why we need this discussion, and on Saturday it is really important for the ladies to come out, because I'm sure, the saying is that we have so many different personalities. And it's really for us to understand and for us to let everyone know exactly what is going on.
How important is it for ladies to share this information with their partners?
Very important, because unfortunately we see a lot of relationships breaking down or ending during this period.
because partners need to understand that you understand what you're going through. It's not just a physical, it's also a mental. You know, it affects every part of your life. It affects your look. Some days you wake up and you're good. 2 weeks later, you find you're gaining weight at no reason, and then you're dropping weight. Or some of our symptoms are sometimes skin rashes or, you know, different things. So women go through a lot, and then mentally, there are days when honestly you can't even find the space to be with yourself. You know, so partners need to understand what women go through.
Yeah, it's a really important conversation. Who's part of the panel? Who will be on the floor really guiding the women in attendance?
Okay. So, Ms. Trumpet is our facilitator.
Yes.
Right? And we have Dr. Bisundat, who's an obstetrician and gynecologist. We have Farah Gopal, who will be our nutritionist. Nicole Cadogan-Lewis, who will be the mental health professional. Fiona Branca will speak on wellness. She'll be the wellness coach. And we have Ava Ali, who will be giving a holistic approach to it.
Yeah, understood. You know, Julian, for those looking on, if you could explain it in a way that, let's say, a child can understand, because I know there's it's defined and there's of course the scientific side of it and all that, but how would you explain if somebody hearing menopause for the first time, or they're hearing about it and have no idea at all what it is? How will you explain it?
That is the hardest thing to do, because no matter how you explain it, they don't understand.
Yeah.
Right? You actually, it's like, it's an outer body experience that the person that you know today, that you know, is a totally different person when you cross that age. Now, I went into surgical menopause, and my children still don't understand.
You know, I try to compare it, and I don't know if my comparison is totally offbeat, but the same way a child will go from that adolescence into puberty, and in puberty you see changes in the child's attitude and the whole energy kind of change. I wonder if almost like menopause is a similar scenario, but on the latest stage of life where you literally go through like a kind of change.
Right, we will understand that, but you remember your children would always see you as the superwoman in the house. And that is the whole thing.
Yes.
They don't, you know, see you as, okay, not that you're going down in age, that's fine. But these symptoms, like all of a sudden, why mommy grumpy, why this, why that, and that kind of thing. But we are not superheroes.
Okay. Yes, understood. And I guess that's why these seminars and this open, frank, honest conversation
is needed.
Is so important.
Yes.
How does one attend?
So you can register online. You can join our Facebook page, which is NWAC Trinidad. You can email us. You can WhatsApp us at 760-7133. You can also call. Send us an email at nwacommunications@gmail.com, and we will, or you can come into 40 Duke Street to register in person.
Let me ask, and again, we're having this frank, open conversation, and I'm glad that we're here. As it pertains to intimacy, Gillian, does it impact, let's say, even that side of the relationship with the partner?
Definitely, because sometimes the husbands think that you're going outside. They don't understand that, you know, your libido drops. You don't want anybody touch you.
Yeah.
You don't want anybody breathe on you. Simple things like you could sit there and you could be eaten, and I will hear every chew. So it's things like that. We become very sensitive to sound, touch, and that kind of thing, and the partners don't understand, because the first thing they think is that you have somebody outside, and that's where the argument starts, etc. So what we ask is that you all empathize with us. You know, we will have seminars, right? If I had seminars, and not one man will show up.
And that's why I ask the question, is why it's so important for women to share this information with their partners, because sometimes we just really don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, we understand that, but then sometimes, as we say, when you're in that mental space, do you understand? You don't understand.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, again, let's put the information up. It's an important one. It's happening on Saturday.
Yes.
9 a.m. from what I understand, 9 a.m. sharp. 9 to 2. So it's a nice early morning into early afternoon session. Distinguished panel. And it's a chance really for ladies to go get information, be informed, be empowered, and I would imagine to share with your partners and family.
Yes, and there will be an open discussion forum as well, so women can discuss
question and answers.
Correct. Yes.
Perfect. Ladies, well done. Great initiative.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I want to thank, of course, Janine and Jillian touching base with us on this Tuesday morning. With that, we're going to make our exit. Have yourselves a great one. Let me just give you a quick roundup as to what's in store today. Do I have time? Oh yeah, I have a couple seconds here. Let me go really fast here, ladies. 1 second. You know it's World Cup time, huh? Let me see if I could find them games here. Oh gosh, what information. Hold on, all you. Listen, good. Today's action, let me get this quick for you. We have Portugal versus Uzbekistan. That's the 1 p.m. game. England, Ghana. That's a nice game at 4 p.m. Panama, Croatia at 7. And Colombia versus the DR Congo, bringing up the late game at 10 p.m. Hey, enjoy it. All right? Godspeed. I'm back for more tomorrow. Have a great day, TNT. All the best.